This episode of Passionate Living is sponsored by BBB, Better Business Bureau of Upstate New York, and BAM, Buffalo Advanced Medical Acupuncture.
So you can imagine my surprise when I received a video out of the blue about Danny Neverth responding to the segment that we did with Joey Reynolds getting a haircut. Just be prepared to laugh, because I had tears rolling down my cheeks when I watched this. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you your moron.
It's all about me, that's right, as long as you remember that. Hi, I'm Dan. I'm still looking for a job, but not today. Today, I'm wrestling with an issue that has me perplexed. I've had the privilege of working in radio and television with some very talented people, and Joey Reynolds is near the top of that list, maybe at the very top. I found out, though, that on a recent visit to Buffalo, which he didn't call me when he was here, he got a haircut.
Yeah, this is a very expensive haircut that's free.
Okay, haircut, big deal. But it was a big deal, apparently, because a TV station filmed his haircut. Apparently, the higher-ups at that station are so enthralled with Joey that they feel his haircut is big news.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Now, I can't mention the name of the station, but the initials are WBBZ. So am I jealous?
Danny has not been jealous of me. I'm jealous of Danny. It's the reverse role.
Maybe. See, I don't get a job, and he gets a haircut, and he's on television. So I had to ask Sandy Beach about it. Sandy, how did you feel about this whole thing with him getting a haircut? I probably shouldn't have asked Sandy because he always liked Joey better than me. I even had to talk to a shrink about this. Okay, your problem, I have analyzed this, is that you suffer from supreme feelings of stupidity and jealousy, and you put stupidity and jealousy together, and then you come up with a really problem. Now, the only way you could get out of this is for you to come up with something more interesting than Joey's haircut. I got it. Ron, let's video me clipping my fingernails, okay? I've got all the stuff I need right here. I can see the promo for it now. Local news, local weather, local nail clipping.
Danny, that's not only gross, it's stupid.
Okay, then what am I going to do to outdo Joey's haircut? I could shave. They could use that. That's wonderful. Oh, boy. Okay, let's see. Will I use a straight razor? It's a little too dangerous. I could use
Lady Gillette. What's going on?
No, that's a little bit too girly. I'll use my own razor. Anything that I can do to beat Joey Reynolds' haircut. Wait a minute. Joey had somebody cutting his hair. I should have somebody shaving me, but I have to do it myself. We're working on a really tight budget here. But if it pays off, if I get on TV, that'll be worth it.
Well, Jon Stewart made a comeback. Danny can do it too. You know, just go down to 1 day a week instead of trying to be on every day.
Oh, okay. And what was the station? Give me the call letters. They might take this. They might say, hey, this is the next best thing.
It's a possibility.
You never know. I'll see you next time. Cleanly shaven. I'm Dan. Oh, Sandy, what did you think of the whole video? I guess he liked it.
Danny was always the hero. He was funny, and he had a great understanding of comedy. He was a good guy for 1939.
The problem that you have, I think, is the deep-seated feelings of jealousy and anger, and I must add, stupidity.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the Better Business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Hi, I'm Warren Clark, President of the Better Business Bureau of Upstate New York, and welcome to the Passionate Business Minute for the day. When you're starting your business, make sure that you and any employees practice what you do every day with the utmost integrity. Remember that one satisfied person will tell 1 or 2 people, a dissatisfied person will tell 5 or 10, and social media today can make that number go up exponentially. So if you start with trust and do your business ethically, you won't wind up with difficulty in the long run.
Jim, I was going to ask you, first off, I grew up coming to this fair from the time I was little. I remember meeting your dad when I was a little girl, and then we started doing the shows. My mom had to get this jewelry, health food, psychic store back in the 70s. And we would take it on the road in the summers, and we would do the jewelry, and we were concessionaires, and we travel with the Strates Shows. So sitting here and talking with you today is going to be a blast, because it's so cool to me. This whole world, it's a whole different world, and that you grew up in.
Well, I should be interviewing you, Kat. And I said this earlier. So while we begin to talk about this, your audience should know we've already been talking about this for about 2 hours already. But yeah, we were on the Strates Shows together as kids at the same time.
Yeah, because we were there at the same. We must have met
bizarre.
Each other, known each other. That's a blast.
And my brother saw you in our office area here the other day, and he said, "Jimmy, who was that? She looked so familiar." And I thought to myself, "Wow, could he be seeing a face that he knew when he was a kid,
right,
and recognizing
so many
you
years
through
ago,
yeah."
right.
And that's happened to me. Like 30 years later, I see someone that I knew. So who knows? But it's a small world. It's really interesting. So
now, how did your grandfather started this, right? Tell me a little bit about his journey.
Well, he was a Greek immigrant, and I believe the reason it was right around the turn of the century. I think he was born in maybe 1909. I should probably read the history page on our website. Don't worry, I forgot what I had for breakfast already. In fact, and it's easy because I missed breakfast already, right?
I was just going to say I didn't have it, so I didn't think about it. Yeah.
But anyway, so my grandfather lived in Greece in the mountains above Sparta, and I think a bunch of wars going on between Turkey and Greece, and was resulting in just the decimation of all the young populations in those countries. So they were off doing the thing they were doing, and the parents didn't want their kids killed. So when he was 15, they loaded him on a ship, and they sent him through England to the United States with other relatives to go live with other relatives. Wow. But his parents didn't come with him. So they sent him out of there, though, to avoid almost certain death. So really, he came to America as a young person that was fleeing war.
Right.
And so my grandfather was a Greek immigrant fleeing from war, and if the United States didn't allow him in, then the only railroad carnival in America today would not be in existence.
Right.
I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be playing the Erie. A lot of things would be different.
I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
And there's a lot of good. And you listen, it would just be a different reality. But there was the goodness of this country, and they let him in, and he achieved the American dream. he went to high school. He was working in a shoe factory. I think it was the Endicott Johnson Shoe Factory in Endicott, New York area. And they had moved around a little bit. But he was going to school and he was wrestling, which was just a high school thing to do. And the Greek wrestlers in that community decided they were going to start a show when they didn't know what they were going to do. They were making shoes already, and they're probably getting tired of making shoes. So anyway, they decided to put together their own wrestling show because they were all, high school wrestlers, and I guess they were pretty good at it. So they took this wrestling show and started going from town to town, four different Greek wrestlers. Yeah. So they were growing. They realized they needed to spread out the entertainment a little bit. So they decided they needed something to drive up those almighty per cap spendings by getting something for everybody. So we needed something for the kids, for mom. So anyway, the food started up, the game started up, and the ride started up. And the first thing they did was they bought, I think it was a Ferris wheel. The next one was a merry-go-round, and they started to get animals, and they began to form an animal show. And later on, it turned into performing animals and an animal show, and then livestock shows. And the shows began to grow. That the name of our company was James E. Strates Shows, and that's not James E. Strates' show. It's James E. Strates Shows, which is plural. The shows is plural.
Oh, okay.
So the plural shows is a reference to the name was the name when there were multiple shows, and it primarily wasn't a carnival.
Okay.
It was a wrestling show that developed into other shows. And so there was the freak show and the girl show and the elephant show and the wrestling show and the athletic show and the fat lady show. And they call those 10s and 1s. They were freak shows, but they call them 10 and 1s because there might be 10 different attractions under one banner. So 10 things under one tent. So anyway, Young Strangler Lewis was my grandfather, and the other guys had their own name. The moment that everybody else had enough of this and they decided, I'm done, I'm going home. My grandfather was the only one in the group that just hadn't had enough, and he bought out their interest and stuck with it. So that was the moment where it really began its transition to something else, and as time progressed, the rides were the things that kept getting a little more spectacular and never really got politically incorrect, whereas the other things became, in the public's eye, less spectacular and more politically incorrect.
We would run, I lived in Hamburg, and the railroad track was about half mile back, and we'd hear the train, and we would run to get to the track so that we could see the train come in because it was so exciting. You had all of this on the side of it, and we knew all of the elephants and the tigers and the rides.
Pretty funny stuff.
And again, now, being, as I got older, became very aware of animal rights and the whole thing, but as a child, I mean, I grew up, this was exciting.
James E. Strates Shows, we now call it Strates Shows because I'm named after my grandfather, and I've got 4 other brothers and sisters that don't think their business should just be named after one of their siblings.
Yeah.
So I try to remind them, it's not just my name, it's Grandpa's name.
Yeah.
Leave my name on the wagon. Anyway, they didn't listen to me, and they called it Strates Shows now. And that's still okay, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
Now, could you show me around this show?
Let's go.
But I remember growing up, like at the Roadhouse or the Food House after, the show was closed and everybody went to eat. And I remember the guys that had seniority got these rides that turned upside down because change would fall out of people's pockets. So there was like an extra bonus point if you had the rides that people turned upside down. In the carny world, in the carny hierarchy, because there is a hierarchy.
Yeah, you were here.
Yeah.
If you saw that, I do not question that it's reality. I'm guessing there was a United States Marine Corps boss, my father, and I say Marine Corps boss because they say once a Marine, always a Marine.
Right.
I'm guessing there was a guy that wasn't knowledgeable that they were doing that at that moment.
Yeah.
Probably knew that they did it because he would see him from time to time and yell at him and tell him to get back.
Right.
But it doesn't surprise me to find out that it happened. So, and how do I know that at least part of what you're saying is absolutely true? Is because we have actually had over the years incidents where some guys were so intent on finding change under a mythical ride, like
Right,
we'll
right.
just name some crazy name like the Zipper, that they get hit in the head by it while it's operating. So anyway, actually, it was the Zipper, and there's been multiple people, because the Zipper has such a propensity for shaking
Right,
money out of
right,
people's.
right.
It happens to be the place that most people looking for money would look, and they just haven't come to the level of expertise that they should look when the ride's not running instead of when the ride's running. But there's also that adage that says, you snooze, you lose, and if the money hits the ground, it's not going to be there very long. So if you're there when it's falling, you're most likely the guy that's going to get it if you can stay alive.
Now, what is this ride you have brought me to?
This is the Crazy Mouse.
Will we
Well,
be able
yeah,
to put the
I was
GoPro
looking.
on here?
I was going to say Wild Mouse, which is the previous iteration, but this
Okay.
is the Crazy Mouse.
All right.
And we had a mouse early in the day too. It was an all wooden coaster, which was quite a
okay.
thing.
So are we going to ride this?
If you would like to ride it, we will ride it.
Are you a crazy mouse? Do you like the crazy mouse?
I like them all.
All right.
I have to say that though because I'm trying to sell.
All right. Well, if I throw up, it'll be a bonding.
You won't throw up.
experience.
Oh. Listen. Can I start interviewing? Because earlier in my interview with Kat, I found out that she has had a few episodes with motion sickness. Some story about a tandem skydive jump, you go left, I'll go right, something. But anyway, maybe we'll save that for the podcast. Jumping out of an airplane, did anyone say to you like, I don't know, your chute doesn't look good, I don't think I'd jump it, and then push you out the door?
No, did you have that happen?
Mhm.
Oh, I wasn't
Oh,
on
you weren't-
camera when
were
I
you
got
on
sick
camera
though.
when you-
When we hit the tooth, I held it until the cameraman went down on his own, and then I got sick. So, oh my God, here we go. We're going up. This is where it gets crazy. All right.
Well, you know, can we stick something?
I love it. Oh, I haven't thrown up yet. This is good, Jim. Oh, that was fun. Oh, man. So this is your favorite ride? No?
Not anymore.
What is the passion, like for you, for your family? What is passion in, like, if you could say it in 100 words or less? What is passion for your family that they are now, in your son, 4 generations of doing these shows and providing this joy for people?
Kind of a multifaceted question, so I'm going to work on the first part, which is keep it down low. You know, the attraction, there's a statement, and you may have heard it when you were young going through it, and you probably experienced it, but they call it getting sawdust in your shoes. And getting sawdust in your shoes means you were around here, and back in the day they used to cover the mud with sawdust.
Mm-hmm.
And so you walk around, you get sawdust in your shoes. Basically it means you have walked the walk of this lifestyle, and when you get sawdust in your shoes, there's something in your soul that makes you want to return to it. And I spent 8 years in the Marine Corps, and I could have kept doing that. Loved it to death. Life changes there. So my decision to come into it was part based on the sawdust in my shoes from when I grew up in it, and part is based on the fact that there's a tradition, and the tradition needs to be continued. And I have sawdust in my shoes, and I have my grandfather's name, and so who better than me? And so it seemed like a natural, and so I'm off and running, and I don't want to speak for all my brothers and sisters, but I imagine that they are operating under the same premise and the same drive, except that they didn't like the James E, so they took my name off it and put their name on it.
I know,
So,
right?
which goes
How
to show.
unfair is that?
No, listen, I don't feel like I'm an owner. I've never felt like I'm an owner, and it's not that I don't feel like I have ownership. I feel like there's this thing that my grandfather started, and he was instrumental in it, and it was his life, and my father continued it. I feel like I am the caretaker of a tradition and a history that I'm part of, but it's bigger than me, so what I need to do is take good care of it.
It's bringing joy to people.
Yeah.
Every
listen,
day.
and
I mean,
that,
when you see the joy on the faces of people on the Midway and these children and even the adults who grew up with the fairs, that's got to be worth.
Yeah, you know, there's one maybe I'm here to make kids good, maybe I'm here to help other people with their lives, and it's just the carnival is the conduit by which we do it. I don't know. Then the real thing is, I don't know. So you know what? We need to play all angles. We'll take care of them, and we'll make the kids smile. And we will take this thing very gingerly. We'll take good care of it, and we'll pass it on to the next time.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have a lot of family around us when we say goodbye. And then someone else will take it up and run, because I'm about exhausted today.
Well, thank you. You're wonderful. Oh my God, what a joy. What a joy to talk with you and to go around the fair and to have this experience with you. So beautiful. Thank you so much for watching today. Remember to press like, comment, and subscribe. And if you really love us supporting what we're doing, become a member and we'll give you some great behind-the-scenes stuff that nobody else gets to see. And also continue your exploration of passionate living by watching one of these awesome videos. Thanks again.